Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
The New Year's Honours List has been announced, and we had 3 local recipients receive their awards. And the first one I've got on the telephone is well known to us. She might even forget what she's talking about. She might talk bowls. Well, she's received a QSM for her services to lawn bowls, and we welcome Carrel Knight to our program this morning. Morning, Carrel.
Yeah, good morning, Nigel.
And congratulations. This must be quite an honour. You must be feeling good about this now. I mean, you've known about it since October, I presume, or thereabouts. You get a letter and you think, oh, yeah, okay. But now, today, it's hit you, I should imagine.
Yeah. It's sort of been a long time having to keep quiet about it, shall I say?
Yes, that's right. I don't know how you do that, but you've done it.
No, they say women can't keep secrets.
Yeah, you've had to this time. Carrel, this is well-deserved, QSM, and just looking back through the dossier they provided with us, you know, Lyall Bay Bowling Club in the 1980s. Goodness, that's a long way back.
1984-85 was it was the season that the Lyall Bay opened a women's section, because they used to have before we were amalgamated, you had your men's section, and some clubs were just men only, and then they decided at Lyall Bay they might attract more men if their wives could join as well.
Right.
So they opened a women's section.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Bob came home and said, "You're now a member of the Lyall Bay Women's Bowling Club."
Right.
And I said, hang on, I'm going to play golf.
That never happened.
It never happened.
No.
It never happened. I've only ever once picked up a golf club, and then I hit the ball everywhere, so I may as well stick to bowls. Right.
Because Bob, just for the listeners' information, was your husband, your late husband, unfortunately, but he would have been very proud of you today, that's for sure.
Yeah, now, I think he would have.
Yes, yeah. Were you in the police force at that point, Carrel, when you...
No, I was in the police a long way back, 1964 till the end of 68.
Right, so this
was... Then you had the 5 years, and then Bob and I both left and decided to make a new life for ourselves.
Good on you. So that's when you took up bowls, or you got to take up golf, which never happened. So then you...
Which never happened, yeah. No, that was 68. It was a few years later. I went back into the post office, Bob went into the pub game, and I did help in the... working behind the bars, and we were in the Shamrock Hotel in Wellington for a long time.
Oh, goodness.
And then Bob said to me, "No, you're not working in the Duke, it's too rough down there." Because I remember the Duke from the days in the police when the sailors used to come in, and oh boy, that was a rough bar.
Yes.
But I wandered down there one night and told him I'd just got the sack from the Grand, so...
That was it.
So
now,
he decided he was short of staff.
You got this award for services to lawn bowls, but it doesn't mean you're not involved with the lawn bowls, because, I mean, just thinking of you Saturday morning, you talk to us here, but you're involved in playing, and also you're still the president of the club, the women's club in Levin.
Yeah, still at Levin Women's Bowling Club. Nice little club. We always say best club in town, but I think everybody does that. But I would certainly say that Levin Women's is. We have a lot of fun there. We're not anti-men. It's just that the demographics of the health and safety and everything else like that, you need 2 toilets per 20 or 40 men, or 2 for 40 women, and we've got no room to expand. Right. So that's the only reason. We have mixed events, and we work it out then.
Right. But you lived at Waitarere at the time, and you were playing bowls out there, were you?
I was playing bowls at Waitarere.
Yep.
In 84, when we first started at the Lyall Bay Bowling Club, there was 11 women put their names in to join, and 2 of them only had played bowls before, and the other 9 names went into the hat, Nigel, and we drew them out. The first 3 were out as skips, so I came out as a skip in my first year.
You never looked back since.
No, and then I was secretary in the next year.
Yes.
And then became president. When I joined Waitarere, I was president of Lyall Bay at the time. I was having a bit of time out. I had breast cancer in 1990 with a recurrence in 1995, and they told me I had 10 years, so I had to make the most of it, and I've been very greedy. I've had 30.
Oh, there we are, you see. Just shows you active life keeps you ticking along. So Waitarere at the time, was it a flourishing bowling club when you went out there, or was it just developing?
No, it was pretty big. They had a lot more men, of course. There was only ever probably about 20-odd women when I was out there. It's never been a big women's section at Waitarere.
Right.
But we were very active and competitive and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes, of course you've gone through, I mean, just not locally, you're a member of the Bowls New Zealand Council from, 1996, was it?
Yes, when they amalgamated, I took over. Noel Burns had been our councillor here, and Rhys Young was the men's councillor. When they amalgamated, I think both Rhys and I went on initially, and then Rhys dropped off when they dropped it to one councillor. But I was on there for quite a few years. I was put onto the games development. I did become the regional councillor at one stage, which covered across all the central area from Gisborne across to New Plymouth down to Wellington. So it was a fairly big area for the regional. And then when they changed the setup, they made the advisory committees, and I was on the advisory committee for about 6 years.
Right. Now, in between times, I mean, you had a little bit of spare time by the sounds of this, because you're the secretary and treasurer of the Waitarere Beach Tennis Club for 18 years. Yeah,
it was a token thing. They needed someone to look after their books, and I never actually played tennis, but I just looked after their books. And actually, I don't think I was the president. I think they might have that wrong, because Leanne McConchie was the president out there. I was always just the secretary, and I looked after the secretary-treasurer. I looked after their books and helped them along those lines.
18 years of that?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, until it went defunct and we passed the building and everything over to the Horowhenua District Council.
Well, fantastic, Carrel. You've put a lot of work in. You're still working hard at it too, and no doubt you'll continue on. But this is just an accolade which you well deserved, and I'm sure all the bowlers in the Kapiti Coast and further afield will recognise the amount of work you've put in and say thank you very much indeed, Carrel. Keep up the good work, won't you?
Yeah, thanks for that, Nigel. And I think, as I said to you off air, there's always a lot of people in the background that do such a lot as well.
Yes.
And you can't get these accolades on your own without the cooperation and assistance of other people.
You can't.
You'd never get it.
But then again, if we don't have people like you who take over these jobs, there's no one else to put up their hand. We've got to have you folks who do that for us, and we thank you very much for that.
Well, thanks a heap, Nigel, and it's great dealing with Beach FM, and I enjoy going around. I almost used to know most of the names of everyone on the field, but there's such a lot of new bowlers out there now.
There is.
I don't know a lot of them.
Well, you might be the cause of that too. So,
yeah, could be.
Carrel, thanks very much. Have a lovely day with family and friends, and no doubt that phone's red hot. So
yes, it has been a bit busy this morning. I think I got my first text message about 6:05.
I see. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carrel.
Okay, Nigel.
Carrel Knight.
106.3 Beach FM.